It has been a long time since I have had the opportunity of speaking to a full hall at this university. I remember my classes back in the late 60s, and then I remember our meditation groups that started at that time. I'll tell you a joke at my own expense. Dr. Soma Parker has told you a story about how we met. But a little bit before that, actually, when I just came in 67 to teach Sanskrit at the Department of East Asian Studies, which was East Asian at that time, which then split into East Asian and South Asian. So I announced classes in yoga in somebody's basement, a very dear student, Sanskrit student, and went there, and the hall was full. This was the revolutionary hippie era. You mention anything exotic and they will be there. So we had 100 students for that session, and I stood there waxing in philosophy of Patanjali and the Yoga Sutras and the Yamas and the Niyamas, and drawing it all on the board and so on. After a while, after an hour, everybody listened, and after a while they went out, walked out, and next day I had 5 students. Because I did not know, I really did not know, coming from the tradition of the ancient founders of yoga, that yoga meant physical postures. And I inquired around and said, what happened? He said, well, that's not what we understand by yoga here. What you are doing. Meditation, philosophy, principles of ethics. So that was a discovery for me. Now slowly, I've compromised with that yoga. That part, the physical part by which yoga is most known nowadays, is only a small integral part of a vast system of philosophy and practices. Philosophy of life, practices of life, and practices of meditation. And there are as many branches of meditation, as many methods and pathways in meditation as there are faculties in your personality of which you and I are constituted. So sometimes I'm traveling in an aeroplane, somebody sitting next to me, hello, where are you going, what do you do, and I don't know what to say, what I do. So I say, I do strange things. Like what? Oh, I teach meditation. Oh, I need that. So I give a 5-minute lesson right there in the aeroplane seat. What kind of meditation do you teach? Again, I have no answer. Because nowadays people have taken small, tiny techniques and methods, put them in a nice, neat bundle, tied a lovely bow, put a high price tag, here is your yoga, that will be $1,000, please. That is not what I understand by yoga. If that is how I understood yoga, I would be a rich man, which everybody knows I am not. So, what is it that we are here for? In this hall, together, so many, you have filled all the seats, and I'm really enthused to see such a crowd. We can take it from the basic human urge, the most basic human urge. Can you guess what the most basic and all-embracing human urge is?
Be happy.
The human urge to peace. I would like some peace and quiet around here. You hear people say, when is peace going to return to our land? My mind is not at peace. This urge to peace, and almost synonymous with that basic human urge, the urge to silence, is fundamental, and we do not recognize that so many of our other urges are actually in the quest for the fulfillment of that urge to peace and urge to silence. They found all different parts of the brain that are pain centers, pleasure centers, audio centers, visual cortex. I'd like to know if there is any neurologist here who can tell me which is the peace center and the silence center. Can you do some research on it for me? You can touch an electrode and you feel this deep interior silence of the mystic. Because this urge to peace and this urge to silence actually comes in us from somewhere even beyond our neurons and our brain structure. All the philosophies, all transcendental pursuits, all teachings of the mystics and the sages are centered around this quest for interior silence. And yet it escapes us. Because of our misidentification of ourselves. The question, who am I, what am I? So we stand before a mirror, look at our body and say, this is me. Well, this is a very, very changing kind of a me. Look at your photo 20 years ago and look at it, what your photo will be like 20 years from now. This me is very different from day to day. But I assure you, from little that I have been able to not think, shall I say, able to receive in experience in meditation, all our studies of ethics and philosophy, our pursuits for understanding the world stem from this quest to interior silence. That is what yoga is all about. That is the yoga we teach at our meditation center here, and I've been teaching that for the last